wet ink signature from the property owner. Simple enough. They said no, not going to do that. The other one was we wanted to make sure that everybody knew they had an option of not letting any other entity add to that easement. So therefore, any entity that was added to the easement needs to be also approved by the property owner. So we're not asking too much, but it's a Liberal government with a majority, and it'll probably go ahead.
It's a dictatorship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got a little ray of sunshine. I was very curious about this, so I went and I read the whole bill in detail. And I'm glad you mentioned section 12, but subsection 9 of section 12 deals with term.
Yep.
And I think possibly, in my opinion, we might be a little over anxious, because the term says, under section 9 of term, an easement is valid for the term specified in it. The term must be specified as a period of months, years, or perpetuity. So, and reading on afterwards, it's up to the landowner to sign that. So he can sign it for 1 month, 1 season, or 1 year, and that's how good it's long. That's how long it's good for. So, I'm just saying that even though the front of section 12 sounds very odious, the term part kind of puts the power back with the landowner.
Did you know that that was in there?
Yes, I did.
When?
When I read the bill.
And when were you going to get presented that bill when you were signing up for the snowmobile trail?
All I'm saying is
No, that was
bill,
our
the way
problem.
it stands.
We know that says that. There's not an issue with that. The problem is they never told anybody they're even doing the bill. We've been at this since 2005. Nobody heard about it, including the snowmobile.
Yeah. I understand that there was. I understand that there was not sufficient consultation. I'm just saying that that's a very strong.
Oh yeah, as long as you know that's there. It's
very strong.
It's strong. But if your mother lives out in the backwoods,
but I think one of your jobs is to make sure that people understand that that's there, and nobody can go knocking on their door and asking them to sign something. I mean.
Well, they do though. Just a second.
So our job is to make sure we know what the bill says, and the bill gives us a certain amount of protection, I would think.
And
I don't even know what's in our constitution.
I agree. If they tell you that at the door, then we're good. There's nothing in the bill that says they need to inform you. Nothing anywhere in there. They didn't inform the snowmobile clubs, because I asked Mr. Robinson, Bruce, he was there the other night, I said, when did you find out about this bill? It's been going on since 2005. He said, when we heard it from you. Yeah. Okay, so they weren't going to tell anybody, and they were going to run this thing through. And so we have guys that have had a snowmobile contract signed 12 years ago. They've never had another word since to refresh that. Some of the groups will have them signed every year, but some of them don't. And so the problem with that's a verbal easement. That's how that's recognized. When you sign that over, even if you don't sign something, it is a verbal easement. If you say, yes, you can cross my property, that's an easement. So, pardon? Oh, sorry. Anyways,
it says it has to be in writing.
Yes, but the lawyers will tell you it doesn't have to be in writing, because we've got 2 lawyers that will tell us that right here. I've got 2 lawyers' letters with me right now. I have 2 lawyers that have also said the same other holes in the thing. I am not at liberty to mention them, but you can get lawyers to say either side.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, somebody asking something?
Yeah, I was wondering, is it provincial or federal?
No, it's provincial. Yeah, it's the liberal tourism minister is putting through. Yeah. Well, it reads when it talks about it, tells the all or part or all of the property. There's no dimensions on this trail. Eh?
It's up to the landowner to decide how much
possibly.
the easement he's giving up. It's up to him.
There's nothing in the bill. We're talking about the bill. So we're talking about legislation. Whenever you pass legislation, when it gets written down in the bill, if the minister says, oh, that'll never happen, it doesn't matter what the minister says. It has to be written in the bill. So you get in a courtroom, the court has to have something to judge it on. And it has to go by the bill. So we don't want to create more legislation that has holes in it that's so easily manipulated by people who have an agenda. And I'm not saying anybody has one.
Somebody else said it.
But lots of people think they do. But the fact is, it's not hard to fix it now, but you get it in a committee, it won't be fixed. Fix it now, it's easy to fix, but 4 different lines have to be changed. And put a preamble in there that controls the regulations that are written on it. And then everybody will be fine. The way it is now, people are really nervous about it, they don't trust it, and they're not going to let their trails be opened anymore. They're going to close them.
Trust Kathleen Wynn.
I'll read you a really short. This is lawyer Curtis Andrews. Anybody heard of lawyer Curtis Andrews?
I already saw it on Facebook.
He wrote an article in Farmers Forum. He actually didn't write the article in Farmers Forum a month ago. He was interviewed, and they did a story on this bill, and it came through that he wasn't that concerned about the bill. And when he seen it in the paper, he wrote another article that said, "I think you misunderstood me." And he wrote a letter, and he allowed us to read it off. And here it is. Upon reading article, Trails Bill won't take your land. Agriculture lawyer says, I do not believe that my opinion of the proposed bill was made sufficiently clear. He said, the article appears to suggest that I do not believe that this bill poses any serious problems to landowners. To be clear, this is not my opinion. My opinion is that the bill does nothing but cause serious problems for the landowner. To be even clearer, it is obvious that the sole purpose of the bill is to take away property rights from the property owner. To this end, I agree with the position of the OLA. The point I wanted to make when I was interviewed is that the bill does not purport to automatically strip a property owner of his or her property rights. However, having said that, the bill is still dangerous by providing the government and the private trail groups with mechanisms to take away property rights in wholly unpredictable ways. If landowners or past landowners have unfortunately subscribed to an easement pursuant to this legislation. As stated in the article, property owners can already establish trails on their property without all the dangers and unpredictability that this bill will provide. There is no point in the bill except to benefit governments and trail groups with potentially devastating results for property owners. Bottom line, the trail bill is a terrible piece of proposed legislation with nothing but a downside for property owners' perspective. They should pull the bill back and put some safety catches in there so we don't have to deal with ruining our community. Well, I mean, if these guys want to, I understand where I'll tell you the backstory of it. And I talked to the Trails Council. They did not ask for easements. They went into negotiation with the government because they wanted an agency that could deal with all the different scenarios of trails. And we're talking horse trails, ski trails, cross-country ski trails, walking trails, bike trails, all that stuff. They wanted one sort of bill that controlled or helped them deal with all the different scenarios. And they were in consultation with the government until 2010, at which time they closed the door on them and shut them out and brought the bill back out in 2013, and there was easements in it by then. They didn't have any requests for easements. The governments in the back room decided there was money to be made in this thing somewhere, and they put the easements in it. Now, that's where it started. Go ahead.
I've got one more positive, I think. I have a lot of friends who go to the Quebec side to snowmobile and also to ATV.
Yep.
And I believe that part of the motivation of this bill is a lot of the communities in rural Ontario see the loss of tourist activity, which can be created by snowmobiles and ATVs and so on, and they see the loss, not just to Quebec, but they see their own loss for a variety of reasons, including the fact that certain ATV-style vehicles are not allowed to travel on the shoulder of the roads in Ontario, but they are elsewhere, and so on and so forth. And many of these communities want that tourist trade, and I believe that that's the motivation. Now, I'm not saying it's good, bad, or whatever. I'm just saying that if the government is going to make money out of this, it's not going to be by ripping off land from us. It's going to be because the communities are going to generate some restaurant revenue, some gas revenue, some hotel revenue, and so on. So I'm not going contra what you're saying. I'm just saying that
that was the reason for doing it.
That
was the intent. There's no, of the trail guys as well, and they were looking for a permanent sort of trail because they fall in with the landowner and he says, okay, you're done in 30 days, you can't come back. And if this easement was on there, then that wouldn't happen. That was the intent of the law. And up north, in the northern parts of, well, not even that far, but Calabogie and places like that, a lot of their tourism dollars are made in the season, and we understand that. But the fact that the government got their paws into this thing and have written a bill that was just so one-sided and didn't cover the protection of the people, inform the people is the most important thing they need to do. As long as you're informed, I don't care what you sign, you can do whatever you want on your property. The young fellow that's in the Trails Council that I've been dealing with, his reason for pushing this was whenever he was a kid, he had a horse. He was down near Toronto somewhere, and the farm field had a trail that he used constantly to ride his horse. And you know what happened? He said, the farmer sold his farm and they built houses on my trail.
On my trail.
Because I had to move out to Deserano and buy my own place to ride my horse. But anyways, I mean, that's his emotional moment. He was telling me that the reason for him being involved in this. I'm pretty sure he has a monetary gain in it as well. I haven't quite figured out what it is yet, but he doesn't travel across Canada for nothing. So he has obviously got something in the background. The other thing is the railway tracks are also